Rejoice! Rejoice! Our times are intolerable. Take courage, for the worst is a harbinger of the best. Vermeer. So long as that woman from the Rijksmuseum, in painted quiet and concentration, keeps pouring milk day after day from the pitcher to the bowl, the world hasn't earned the world's end. Mother tongue, the land of Nod. True, this isn't paradise, but we come at last to love it for the sweet hay and the flowers rising, for the corn lining up row on row, for the mourning doves who open the darkness with song, for warm rains and forgiving fields, and for how each day something that loves us tries to save us. Entropy. Yes, things fall apart. The world is ever in disorder. Dust collects in corners and socks keep losing mates, while bridges crack, great stars go dark, and dogs of war roam free. And yet, somehow, the center, wherever it might be, still manages to hold. A stranger offers to help, the blooming rose unfolds. Who finds these modest miracles enough? We yearn for endless progress, but stumble, walk, then fall in place, surrounded by, if not salvation, then something that might be chaotic grace.
But for the grace. It could have happened. It had to happen. It happened earlier, later, closer, farther. But it didn't happen to you. You escaped because you were the first. You escaped because you were the last. Alone, with others, on the left, on the right, because it was raining, because of the shade, because the sun was shining that day. Lucky for you, there was a forest. Lucky for you, there were no trees. Lucky for you, a rail, a hook, a beam, a break, a jam, a bend, a fraction, an instant. Lucky for you, just then a blade went flying by. As a result, because and but, despite. What would have happened if a hand, a foot, one step away, a hair's breadth from an awful coincidence? So here you are, still dizzy from another dodge, another close shave, a single hole torn in the net, and you managed to slip through it? I couldn't be more stunned or speechless. Listen how your heart pounds inside me. Lover. Easy light storms in through the window. Soft edges of the world, smudged by mist. A squirrel's nest rigged high in the maple. I've got a bone to pick with whoever is in charge. All year I've said, you know what's funny? And then nothing. Nothing is funny. Which makes me laugh in an oblivion is coming sort of way. A friend writes the word lover in a note, and I am strangely excited for the word lover to come back. Come back, lover. Come back to the five and dime. I could squeal with the delight of blissful release. Oh, lover, what a word. What a world, this gray waiting. In me, a need to nestle deep into the safekeeping of sky. I am too used to nostalgia now, a sweet escape of age. Centuries of pleasure before us and after us, still right now, a softness like the worn fabric of a nightshirt, and what I do not say is, I trust the world to come back. Return, like a word long forgotten and maligned for all its gross tenderness. a joke told in a sunbeam, the world walking in, ready to be ravished, open for business. Party. Dear Dogwood, what the hell? Why all the blooming, raucous, and bright like there isn't an apocalypse at your feet? The toxic sprays, the runoff, the dryer lint caught in the drainage grate? See, the bike rack gets it, all stolid in gunmetal and rust. The lamppost grim, unbending. But look at the daffodils, Jesus! The dandelion poking its grinning sunhead through the mulch that someone spread so carefully just last week. All you organic fools flowering despite it all. The Ford Explorer running the earth every day is festooned with your wet pink blossoms like a poacher wearing a necklace of teeth, and still you keep dropping more and more every time the wind gusts. Squirrels spiral up and down your trunk, everywhere chittering robins, nattering jays. Why all the festivities? How? Oh, killjoy, I imagine you saying, your soft petals on my neck like a cocktail cool hand. Even disaster is a party if you dress for it.
I am learning to abandon the world. I am learning to abandon the world before it can abandon me. Already, I have given up the moon and snow, closing my shades against claims of white. And the world has taken my father, my friends. I've given up melodic lines of hills moving to a flat, tuneless landscape. And every night, I give my body up limb by limb, working upwards across bone towards the heart. But morning comes with small reprieves of coffee and birdsong. A tree outside the window, which was simply shadow moments ago, takes back its branches, twig by leafy twig. And as I take my body back, the sun lays its warm muzzle on my lap, as if to make amends. We are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond. I still feel like the world is a piece of bread. I'm holding out half to you. When giving is all we have, one river gives its journey to the next. We give because somebody gave to us. We give because nobody gave to us. We give because giving has changed us. We give because giving could have changed us. We have been better for it. We have been wounded by it. Giving has many faces. It is loud and quiet, big though small, diamond in wood nails. Its story is old, the plot worn and the pages too, but we read this book anyway, over and again. Giving is, first and every time, hand to hand. Mine to yours, yours to mine. You gave me blue, and I gave you yellow. Together we are simple green. You gave me what you did not have, and I gave you what I had to give. Together we made something greater than the difference.
Time sharing. In our time together, we were traveling in the heated car, a violin concerto playing on the radio, hills streaming with winter cold, year-end fields worn down to seams, a blazing quaff of distant dogwood, burned meringue of snow on mountaintops. We blurt past farms and cottages. Those whose era we share are staring from net curtains at a morning chill for milking or for setting off to factories in the town, their segments of road deserted. It is like a childhood journey of sleep and open-eyed surprise, of hermetically sealed life in the eternal present before the final destination is reached. We hold hands on the gear stick, and at this moment, fear for nothing except the future. The annals say, when the monks of Clonmacnoise. The annals say, when the monks of Clonmacnoise were all at prayers inside the oratory, a ship appeared above them in the air. The anchor dragged along behind so deep it hooked itself into the altar rails. And then, as the big hull rocked to a standstill, a crewman shinned and grappled down the rope and struggled to release it, but in vain. This man can't bear our life here and will drown, the abbot said, unless we help him. So they did. The freed ship sailed, and the man climbed back out of the marvelous as he had known it. My name and yours, the true name of the sun, or a spring of water, or an unborn child, all are symbols of the great word that is very slowly spoken by the shining of the stars. Testament. In the beginning was the Word, the year of our Lord. Amen. I, Lucille Clifton, hereby testify that in that room there was a light, and in that light there was a voice, and in that voice there was a sigh, and in that sigh there was a world, a sigh, a voice, a light, and I alone in a room.
The mystery. The mystery that surely is present as the underside of a leaf, turning to stare at you quietly from your hand. That is the mystery you have not looked for. And it turns with the silent shattering of your life, for who knows ever after the proper position of things, or what is waiting to turn from us even now. The lesson of the falling leaves. The leaves believe such letting go is love. Such love is faith. Such faith is grace. Such grace is God. I agree with the leaves. Extreme vernacular. If you speak in tree, city people will think you are singing very softly or just humming for your own satisfaction. But if you speak in river, in trills, rugged chants, and long shanties, they may cross the street, stay out of your way, pretend to consult their phones. Let's speak in sky, you and I, steady gaze, blue devotion, storm.
Break light. Light keeps on breaking. I keep knowing the language of other nations. I keep hearing tree talk, water words, and I keep knowing what they mean. And light just keeps on breaking. Last night, the fears of my mother came knocking, and when I opened the door, they tried to explain themselves, and I understood everything that they said. In the library, there's a book called A Dictionary of Angels. No one has opened it in 50 years. I know, because when I did, the covers creaked, the pages crumbled. There I discovered that angels were once as plentiful as species of flies. The sky at dusk used to be thick with them. You had to wave both arms just to keep them away. Now, the sun is shining through tall windows. The library is a quiet place. Angels and gods huddled in dark, unopened books. The great secret lies on some shelf Miss Jones passes every day on her rounds. She's very tall, so she keeps her head tipped as if listening. The books are whispering. I hear nothing, but she does. Sorrows. Who would believe them winged? Who would believe they could be beautiful? Who could believe they could so fall in love with mortals that they would attach themselves as scars attach and ride the skin? Sometimes we hear them in our dreams, rattling their skulls, clicking their bony fingers, envying our crackling hair, our spice-filled flesh. They have heard me beseeching as I whispered into my own cupped hands, "Enough, not me again. Enough." But who can distinguish one human voice amid such choruses of desire? White eyes. In winter, all the singing is in the tops of the trees, where the windbird with its white eyes shoves and pushes among the branches. Like any of us, he wants to go to sleep, but he's restless. He has an idea, and slowly it unfolds from under his beating wings as long as he stays awake. But his big, round music, after all, is too breathy to last. So, it's over. In the pine crown, he makes his nest. He's done all he can. I don't know the name of this bird. I only imagine his glittering beak tucked in a white wing while the clouds, which he has summoned from the north, which he has taught to be mild and silent, thicken and begin to fall into the world below like stars, or the feathers of some unimaginable bird that loves us, that is asleep now and silent, that has turned itself into snow.
Five poems by Lucille Clifton. Study the masters. Like my Aunt Timmy, it was her iron, or one like hers, that smoothed the sheet the master poet slept on. Home or hotel, what matters is he lay himself down on her handiwork and dreamed. She dreamed too, words, some Cherokee, some Maasai, and some huge and particular as hope. If you had heard her chanting as she ironed, you would understand form and line, and discipline and order, and America. In the evenings, I go through my rooms like a witch watchman, mad as my mother was for rattling knobs and tapping glass. Ah, lady, I can see you now, our personal nurse, placing the iron wrapped in rags near our cold toes. You are thawed places and safe walls to me as I walk the same sentry, ironing the winter's warm and shaking locks in the night like a ghost. A Song of Mary. Somewhere, it being yesterday, I, a maiden in my mother's house. The animals silent outside is morning. Princes sitting on thrones in the east, studying the incomprehensible heavens. Joseph carving a table somewhere in another place. I watching my mother, I smiling an ordinary smile. Mary's dream. Winged woman was saying, full of grace and like, was light beyond sun and words of a name and a blessing. Winged women to only I joined them, whispering yes. Mary, Mary. Mary, Mary astonished by God on a straw bed circled by beasts and an old husband. Mary Marinka, holy woman, split by sanctified seed into mother, and mother forever and ever. We pray for you, sister woman, shook by the awe, full attention of the saints.
In weather, I can't decide about my garbage and the creatures who come at night to root and scatter it. I could lock it in the shed, but I imagine wet noses, bodies grown alert to the smells of warm decay in the cold air. It seems a small thing to share what I don't want, but winter mornings, the white yard blossoms, grapefruit peels, the russet cores of apples. The refuse of my life surrounds me, and the sense of waste in the dreary gathering of it compels me all the more to labor for the creatures who quiver and are quick-eyed and bang the cans at night and are not grateful. The other morning, waking early in the new sun, I was rewarded. A thaw turned up the lobster shells from Christmas Eve. They rotted in the yard. And standing in the muddy field, I caught, as if across great distances, a faint, rank fragrance of the sea. Taking down the tree. "Give me some light," cries Hamlet's uncle midway through the murder of Gonzago. "Light, light," cry scattering courtesans. Here, as in Denmark, it's dark at 4, and even the moon shines with only half a heart. The ornaments go down into the box. The silver spaniel, my darling, on its collar from Mother's childhood in Illinois. The balsa jumping jack my brother and I fought over, pulling limb from limb. Mother drew it together again with thread while I watched, feeling depraved at the age of 10. With something more than caution, I handled them. And the lights, with their 10 star-shaped reflectors, brought along from house to house, their pasteboard toy suitcase increasingly flimsy. Tick, tick, the desiccated needles drop. By supper time, all that remains is the scent of balsam fir. If it's darkness we're having, let it be extravagant.
For last year's words belong to last year's language, and next year's words await another voice. 4 poems by Lucille Clifton. Quartz Lake, Alaska. Deep autumn, and all the tourists have gone south with the geese and the fickle sun. Only those things remain which can bear the frown of winter, the ice stars, the raven, the moon, and this solitude, keeping their long faith with forsaken things. The lake turns its cold face, is no one's mirror, and the sky pouts back. Everything wakes and sleeps in forest time to the soft drum of wind among the pines, to the snow forever falling, and the long dark bringing its constellations, bright cruciform against the sky, lighting the way on quiet snow for winter migrations of caribou or wolf or phantom grief moving out and away in a silent ritual of passage. New bones. We will wear new bones again. We will leave these rainy days, break out through another mouth into sun and honey time. Worlds buzz over us like bees. We will be splendid in new bones. Other people think they know how long life is, how strong life is. We know. I am running. I am running into a new year, and the old years blow back like a wind that I catch in my hair, like strong fingers, like all my old promises, and it will be hard to let go of what I said to myself about myself when I was 16 and 26 and 36, even 36. But I am running into a new year, and I beg what I love and leave to forgive me. New Year. Lucy, by Sam out of Thelma, limps down a ramp toward the rest of her life. With too many candles, she is a princess of burning buildings, leaving the year that tried to consume her. Her hands are bright as they witch for water, and even her tears cry, "Fire, fire." But she opens herself to the risk of flame and walks toward an ocean of days.
The coming of light. Even this late it happens. The coming of love, the coming of light. You wake and the candles are lit as if by themselves. Stars gather, dreams pour into your pillows, sending up warm bouquets of air. Even this late, the bones of the body shine, and tomorrow's dust flares into breath.
Happiness. So early it's still almost dark out. I'm near the window with coffee and the usual early morning stuff that passes for thought when I see the boy and his friend walking up the road to deliver the newspaper. They wear caps and sweaters, and one boy has a bag over his shoulder. They are so happy. They aren't saying anything, these boys. I think if they could, they would take each other's arm. It's early in the morning, and they're doing this thing together. They come on slowly. The sky is taking on light, though the moon still hangs pale over the water. Such beauty that for a minute, death and ambition, even love doesn't enter into this. Happiness. It comes on unexpectedly, and it goes beyond really any early morning talk about it. Just come up. We're going to stand. We're all just going to stand here together. I'm going to take your arm. Will there really be a morning? Will there really be a morning? Is there such a thing as day? Could I see it from the mountains if I were as tall as they? Has it feet like water lilies? Has it feathers like a bird? Is it brought from famous countries of which I have never heard? Oh, some scholar, oh, some sailor, oh, some wise men from the skies, please to tell a little pilgrim where the place called morning lies.
Would you stand and sing with us? Morning has broken. like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world.
Flyers that tell you about the music and about our wonderful guitarist, Brendan Grabowski, and as I always do, I forgot to put them out. So I'm going to put them out right here on this blue stool, and if you're interested, it has that information. Now you can clap.
And I just couldn't get those women.